Okay. Okay, so the event that I'm doing is called Extemporaneous Interp, and basically what it is you're given a selection of literature or poetry or whatever, and you have 30 minutes to look over it and prepare it and then present it.
You get 2 pieces.
2 pieces, yes, you get 2 pieces to choose from, and I got 2 pieces in here. It's the chicken soup for the fisherman's soul, so you're in for a real treat there. But tomorrow I've got a tournament. This is going to be my first time ever actually competing in this event because it's generally not an offered event at most tournaments. So I'm really looking forward to it, but
So he's had this for, actually he's had it about 45 minutes because we were going to do before class started in clubs and whatever, so.
Yeah.
I picked the pieces out 45 minutes ago and handed him the book.
Yeah.
So we'll see how well he does. Interp means interpreting literature, bringing a story to life, so we'll see how well he does. I will be giving him time signals because that's part of the event. Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right, ready? I never caught a little fish. Yes, I'm free to say. It was always the biggest fish I caught that got away. The Fish That Got Away by Carol Nelson. In 1957, at age 6, I caught the first of only 2 fish I had ever landed. The Buchanan YMCA in San Francisco's Fillmore District provided a summer day camp that served the neighborhood's inner city kids. Every week we were introduced to a new outdoor experience. This particular week, 24 of us visited Moody Pier for a day of fishing. We loaded onto the Mooney bus with our counselor and in the lead. She successfully guided me through several other outdoor adventures, including camping on nearby Mount Tamalpais. So I was open to letting her teach me about fishing. My entire knowledge of fishing came from having viewed extensive cartoons. I knew that when you caught a fish, the pole would bend, and if you weren't strong enough, the fish would pull you in. We exited the bus at Aquatic Park and paraded down to the pier, which, to us, was just a long road without cars. Concrete benches lined the sides, and fishermen had already settled onto each one. They occasionally gazzed out over the San Francisco skyline to the east or the Golden Gate Bridge to the west. The chaos began as we found an open spot along the pier. Instead of fishing lines, our counselor pulled out a bag of drop lines. A drop line consisted of fishing lines wrapped around small square frames with small hooks and weights attached. It was only minutes after she distributed the drop lines that the first scream broke the relative stillness of life on the pier. One of the girls had a hook in her finger. It was bleeding profusely and she was hysterical. Soon several more of my cohorts came crying to the counselor, all with hooks in their fingers. This was going to be a tough day for all of us. As I watched our counselor remove the hooks from my friend's fingers, and becoming more and more concerned about this particular outdoor experience myself, a friendly fisherman sitting nearby pulled me aside. He showed me how to safely put a shrimp on my hook and throw the line into the water. He suggested I keep a finger on the line and said that when I felt several tugs, I should check the line because I might have a fish. As our counselor finally got everyone to settle down, I started thinking that we might have some fun after all. One of the boys caught the first fish of the day. Naturally, we all ran over to witness the excitement, and in the process, we allowed several lines to fall into the bay or become entangled. But we saw the strangest fish ever. It was brown, had a big head and a small body. "Oh, that's a bullhead," our counselor announced. Even though the fish had no body that could be eaten, the boy kept it anyway. I went back to my spot on the pier, picking up my line and keeping my finger on it, hoping to catch something too. Soon, more kids were pulling bullheads out of the bay. I couldn't help but wonder if our equipment prevented us from catching an actual fish. All of a sudden, I felt a pull on my line. It was one small tug after another, just like the fisherman described, and I screamed with excitement. Friends and onlookers surrounded me as I began to pull the line in. As it came up, I could see a shiny fish on the hook. I had caught a real fish, not just one of those bullheads. My fisherman friend helped me bring it up and over the pier's concrete rail. I grabbed the little fish, which was about the size of my 6-year-old hand, and was surprised by its slimy texture and its strength. The fisherman removed the hook and commented that it was a nice shiner perch. I studied one of its eyes. I wondered if it was looking back at me. I proudly showed it to all of my friends. When the group's interest had faded, I carefully placed my catch in the pocket of my red hood coat I was wearing. Periodically, I would check my pocket to make sure it was still there, each time reliving the excitement of the catch. The San Francisco fog and westerly winds began to kick up, and soon I sought refuge on a concrete bench along with the other bored and whiny day campers. The excitement of fishing had passed, and we were all ready to go home. We retraced our path and left the pier to catch the bus for our return trip. We transferred to the Geary bus, loaded with commuters heading home for the day. The bus riders seemed tolerant of us. A lady smiled at me the way people tend to do with young children. I smiled back and dipped my hand into my pocket, wanting to show her the excitement of my little shiner perch. As I lifted it up for her to view, instead of the proud look that I expected, All I got was a look of simultaneous surprise, fear, and anger, and she knocked the fish out of my hand. It dropped behind a seat and became wedged between the seat and the wall of the bus. I didn't have time to be angry with her because I immediately focused on the need to dislodge and retrieve my fish. I was tossed and rocked about as the bus made its stops throughout the city. I wanted my fish back! My arm was small enough to fit behind the seat, but it wasn't quite long enough. I stretched with everything I could, and I could just barely feel the tip of my fingertips, but it was too slippery to latch onto. And so we arrived at our destination, and after reluctantly extracting my arm from behind the seat, I stepped off the bus with my friends and our counselor, but without my trophy fish. As I dismally watched the bus roar away in a cloud of diesel fuel, my shiner perch lodged behind the seat, I suddenly made a wish that somebody else would find my lost fish and enjoy it as much as I had. Who knows? Wishes sometimes do come true.